Hello, and welcome to the next module of this course. In this lecture, we will address how important it is for young people and teachers to quickly respond to online violence in order to end the situation and prevent further harm. First, we're going to discuss actions that can be taken by young people when they experience online violence. Second, we will address how teachers can respond in an adequate yet sensitive way to disclosures and reports of online violence in their school. When a young person experiences online violence as a victim or witnesses it as a bystander, depending on the situation, there are actions that they can take to end the violence. Young people are often unaware of the options that they have to try to end or at least improve the situation, which may result in online violence continuing for a long time or taking on more severe forms. Young people can also be unaware of their ability to step up and intervene on behalf of someone else who experiences online violence, or to support the victim. When young people are provided with a framework of concrete actions they can take, they are more likely to respond to online violence in an effective, positive, and supportive way when they experience or witness it. As a teacher, you can play an important role in transferring this knowledge and making them aware of their options and responsibilities. What can a victim of online violence do? If a young person experiences online sexual violence, there are several things they can do in response. The most important advice you can give to your students is to talk to someone they trust when they experience or witness online violence. This person is preferably an adult, like a parent, a teacher, a neighbor, or a sports coach. But it can also be a peer, like a best friend or a classmate. Make your students aware that involving another person can help them to end the situation and find the support they need. Emphasize that they do not need to go through it alone or feel ashamed for asking for help. If a young person is bullied, threatened, exploited, or humiliated because of an intimate image, degrading comments, or other online content, it is important to remove this content as soon as possible or ensure that people cannot see, access, or share that content anymore. Social media platforms have options to flag or report material, and it is usually removed quickly afterwards. If the content is on a website, it is possible to request the website administrators to remove it. If this does not work, a national helpline or hotline can be contacted. In any case, it is important to take screenshots or save proof of the online violence in another way before the content is removed to serve as evidence for the police. When a young person experiences online violence, it is important for them to shut down all lines of contact with those who hurt or harm them. For example, they can block people who harass or bully them online. Talking back or trying to fight a bully or someone who makes a sexual or degrading comment is not advisable, as this often encourages that person to continue their behavior. In cases of coercion or exploitation, it is of the utmost importance that young people end all communication and that they do not respond to threats, because this will give the exploiter more power and encourage further abuse. They should be blocked on all devices and from all accounts. Explain to your students that in order to identify and end online violence, reporting it is essential. Reporting may also show the perpetrator and others that their behavior is unacceptable. Depending on the case, the content or person can be reported to the relevant social media platform, online game, or website, which may lead to the temporary or permanent suspension of the perpetrator's account. A report can be made to school, but also, often anonymously, to a national child helpline or hotline that deals with online sexual abuse and can give advice or support to get the content removed. Since many forms of online violence are illegal, a report can also be made to the police, which may lead to the prosecution of the perpetrator and other people involved. When addressing how your students can respond to online violence, it is also important to stress that it should never be a reason to give up access to the internet. Many young people, especially girls, censor their posts or leave social media altogether after being sexually harassed online. While it is understandable when someone who has experienced online violence wants to be partially or fully offline for a while, getting off the internet is not a long-term solution, as online access is essential to fully participate in society. A victim of online violence has done nothing wrong, and they should not be disadvantaged as a consequence of what was done to them. What can a witness of online violence do? In addition to learning how to respond when experiencing online violence as a victim, it is important that young people learn what actions they can take when they witness online violence or when they know that one of their peers is experiencing it. This can be a friend or a classmate, but also someone they do not know but about whom they see comments or images online. As a bystander, they have the choice to participate and make things worse, ignore the situation, or take responsibility and attempt to intervene by speaking up and offering support to the victim. Try to encourage your students to choose this last option, even though it can be intimidating due to peer pressure and the fear of becoming a target. The steps that bystanders can take to intervene and support the victim overlap with the steps for victims that were mentioned in the previous section. Like victims, bystanders can talk to a trusted adult, try to report online violence to their school, make an anonymous call to a helpline or hotline, or even go to the police. Additional important considerations when a young person steps up for a victim include speaking out. If a young person who witnesses online violence speaks out against it publicly, this sends a powerful message to the entire group that online violence cannot be tolerated and that the victim is not alone. They may inspire others to do the same. Providing support to the victim. While speaking out about the situation may already be a supportive act for a victim of online violence, a bystander can also offer their support to the victim by asking them directly if they need help. Although many young people experience or witness online violence, they often do not report it or take positive actions such as talking to a parent or teacher or stepping up for the victim. Young people may experience barriers like embarrassment, shame, and worries about the consequences, such as being bullied themselves or being blamed. The more that witnesses to online violence speak out against it and provide support to victims, the more young people will be empowered to seek the help they need, whether as victims or bystanders. What can a perpetrator of online violence do? There may be situations in which someone who perpetrates online violence regrets their own actions. This may happen because initially they were not aware of the consequences that their behavior would have on the victim. It is important to address this and to stress that it is always better to come forward and do everything possible to end the situation. Even though there may be consequences, including legal consequences, they will be less severe if the perpetrator comes forward and takes actions to reverse the harm they caused. It is important to provide young people with concrete steps they can take in such a situation. These may include removing the other person's intimate image or video from the internet and from their own devices, removing any hurtful or degrading comments they or others made online, telling others who have participated in the harassment or bullying that it is wrong and that it needs to stop, apologizing to the victim, asking for help. It can be difficult to change your behavior or its outcomes, but having the intention to change is a good first step. A trusted person, for example, a teacher, parent, or counselor, may be able to offer support and guidance. How can teachers respond to online violence? In the first lecture of our course, we addressed the signs of online violence and how to recognize them. This section explains how a teacher can respond to actual disclosures and reports of online violence, which can result from one-on-one conversations with students after addressing observed signs. They can also come up during or after a workshop about online violence or at any other moment. Disclosures or reports may be made by a young person who has been targeted by online violence, by someone who witnessed it or heard rumors that it was happening, or even by the person who initiated the violence or participated in it. When this happens, it is important for teachers to know how to react and what actions to take to end the situation, prevent further harm, and ensure that the victim receives the support they need. When a young person decides to tell someone about online sexual abuse, it is called making a disclosure. The way you respond can make a world of difference for that child. When a young person discloses about online sexual violence, it is important to listen, remain calm and reassuring, take them to a private space, sit at their eye level, listen carefully to what they are saying. Let them use their own words. Do not use words they have not used. Provide plenty of time and control any expressions of panic or shock. Believe. Reassure them that you believe them. Recognize how brave they are for speaking up and that it is hard to talk about this. Reassure them that the harassment or bullying is not their fault. Avoid intensive questioning. Do not ask about details of the abuse. Don't use why questions. What and how are preferable. And finally, act. Understand your responsibilities. Be aware of your school's child protection policy and safeguarding procedure. Meet health and safety needs. Let them know who you need to inform or from whom you need to seek advice as to what you need to do next. If there is a suspicion of serious illegal behavior, it is not your role to investigate the disclosure. Reassure the young person that there are people whose job it is to investigate the incident and support them. Young people often experience fear about going to the police, as they think that they will get in trouble for breaking the law by sharing their own nude image. An official investigation can be an emotionally taxing process for the victim, so it is important to know about and share resources and support for victims that are available in your area. These organizations may be able to provide more specific details about criminal investigations and help students decide how to proceed. As a teacher, it is important to address the barriers and fears that may prevent young people from reporting and to explain what the process entails and what the possible outcomes may be. However, be careful not to provide legal advice if you are not qualified to do so. Your school's child protection policy and safeguarding procedures may provide specific guidance about how to handle these situations and what kinds of advice to give. If the victim chooses to go to the police, advise them to go with a trusted adult or friend. When incidents of online sexual harassment occur, the ways in which schools respond to them and support those involved can be crucial for preventing further escalation, harmful behavior, and victimization. While each case of online violence is unique and needs a specific, tailor-made response, there are some general guidelines for how teachers can respond to reports of online violence in their school. However, each school should have a child protection policy in place that describes which steps need to be taken in case of online violence, and this policy should be followed at all times. When a report is made, the following things should be considered or done. Make sure you create an overview of the incident. What has happened, to whom, who was involved, who has witnessed it, how was the content shared, through which channels, etc. Ensure that the victim receives the support they need, both mentally and in practical terms. The victim may not have made the report themselves. If someone else made the report, be aware of this and handle it sensitively. Avoid victim blaming. The victim may have engaged in risky online behavior that another person has taken advantage of or exploited, but this does not mean that they deserve blame. Carefully consider your language when you support the victim and take a non-judgmental approach. Involve the victim or the person making the report in the process and in decision-making. Give them as much information and detail on next steps as appropriate in order for them not to get even more upset or feel insecure or powerless. If you need to inform a supervisor, school management, or a designated child safeguarding lead, ask the victim if they want to be part of that conversation. Do not forget to consider what support the alleged perpetrator may require. Keep in mind that their behavior could be the result of their own experiences of abuse or exposure to abusive content or behavior. This does not mean that disciplinary cannot be taken. This can and should occur at the same time if necessary, and be proportional to the incident. Consider whether any other young people need support. Witnesses or friends of the victim who have found out about the online violence may also be upset and may need support. If content was shared through social media, it is possible that a very large group of young people has been exposed to it. Consider whether other schools need to be contacted. If young people from outside of the school are believed to be involved, it may be good to inform their schools of any incidents, if possible. They may be unaware or may have further information about the situation. Only contact parents or other carers once you have advice and guidance from the school management and/or external agencies. This can include the parents of the victim, the perpetrator, and/or the parents of the other classmates, depending on the situation. Inform the young person about the process you must follow. Realize that parents may be upset or angry and may also need emotional support and guidance in how to follow up, avoid victim blaming, and support their child. Online sexual violence, regardless of the type, often involves the threat of an intimate photo or video being shared online. When this happens, it is important to respond quickly, as the longer you wait, the longer the content can circulate online and spread to other classes or schools, and the more difficult it becomes to remove it and contain the incident. While each situation is different and needs a specific approach, there are steps that you can take when harmful online content is circulating in your school. Keep in mind that watching and possessing sexual images of minors is illegal, regardless of the intention behind doing it. Teachers should therefore never view illegal images unless doing so is unavoidable or necessary to the safety of the students involved. Teachers should never copy or share illegal images. Removing the content from the internet. The quickest and most effective route to removing online content is for the person who originally posted it to take it down or delete it. If this person is known, urgently request that they remove the content. Do the same with other persons who shared the content. Also ask them to remove the content from all their personal devices. Contact the social media platform or website where the content is being shared. There are usually specific reporting tools or procedures to flag or report content and request its removal. Online service providers are obligated to remove illegal content, and they usually remove other harmful content quickly when it is reported. To remove illegal images from the internet, you can also contact a national hotline or child helpline for online sexual abuse. National hotlines can be found via the InHope website. Screenshots and other documentation of this content can serve as important evidence if a legal investigation occurs, but as stated previously, it is illegal to view, copy, or share sexual images of minors. Consult your school's child protection policy and safeguarding procedure for guidance on whether and how to document such an incident. In any case in which the material was shared without consent, obtained by pressure, or shared with malice, if there are signs of coercion, blackmail, or adult involvement, if the incident is extreme or violent, or if a large number of young people are involved, a report should be made to the police. Even if a victim does not want the police to be involved, teachers may still be obligated to report the incident to protect the victim or other young people from harm. It is vital that the victim be informed of the reasons behind needing to involve the police. While anonymous tips are always an option, identified reporting increases the likelihood of prosecuting the perpetrator. If you have concerns for the young person's safety, for example in cases of grooming or exploitation, be sure to discuss them explicitly with authorities when you make a report. While immediate response to incidents, containment, removal of online content, and reporting to the police are the most urgent actions to take after disclosures or reports of online violence, there are some other things to consider as well. Each incident of online violence can be used as a starting point to raise awareness. Often, a group or the entire class is involved in an incident. Some may have participated, and others may have tried to defend the victim or may have stayed silent. Online violence may make the entire group feel unsafe. Anyone may have an opinion or an emotional reaction to what happened. Allow students the time and opportunity to debrief and share their reactions. Ensure that those who participated recognize the consequences of their actions and give a strong signal that what has happened is unacceptable. Take the opportunity to raise awareness about what online violence is and what the consequences can be. Explain to them how it can be prevented and how they can respond if it happens again to them or to someone else. Furthermore, online sexual harassment can have a lasting impact on those involved. This is amplified by the online nature of the harassment. The victim may be worried that the harassment or the harmful content can reappear at any time. There is also a risk that the alleged perpetrator will receive abuse for their apparent actions. Make sure to check in regularly with those involved to assess whether they need additional support for a longer period of time. Schools need to be aware and prepared for possible attention from the media. While this does not always happen, it is wise to prepare a media statement after a serious incident and to coordinate and align internal and external communication that may protect students and staff from unwanted exposure. This is it for today's lecture. Thank you for watching. In the next lecture, we are going to give you tips on how to carry out an awareness-raising workshop with your students at school. Goodbye.